The colony ship Aurora shivered as it pierced through the atmosphere of the distant planet. Below, the surface glowed with strange colors, a mixture of turquoise forests and crystal-like mountains that reflected the pale light of the twin suns. It was a world untouched by humans, a place where every step was a discovery and every sound held a hint of danger. Commander Adrian Hale stood at the observation deck, his hands clasped behind his back, staring out at the horizon with calm determination. Years of training and experience had taught him to keep his mind sharp in moments like this, but he could not deny a sense of awe. Humanity had reached so far, yet here, in this alien world, they were still the small ones. Behind him, Dr. Leela Venn adjusted her suit and peered through the glass. She had a soft, natural beauty, quiet but undeniable, and a mind that could read alien symbols like a book. Her eyes sparkled as she took in the view. "It's beautiful," she whispered, almost to herself. "I never imagined something like this existed." "Don't let the colors fool you." There was a warmth in their interaction, subtle and human, that reminded them both why they were fighting to survive so far from Earth. The Aurora shuddered again as it adjusted its descent path. The landing site was a wide plateau, flat enough for the massive ship to touch down safely. Outside, strange winds swept across the landscape, carrying scents of unknown flora and the faint hum of energy deep in the planet. Sensors showed pockets of high radiation, but nothing that the ship could not withstand. "Preparing for landing," Adrian said, his voice steady. "All crews report readiness." Engineers, scientists, and security officers confirmed their positions. Leela adjusted her gloves and nodded. "Ready," she said simply. The ship trembled as thrusters fired, slowing its descent. Sparks flew from the landing pads as the ship touched the ground, and for a moment, silence hung in the air. Then, slowly, the massive doors opened, revealing the alien world in full detail. Leela was the first to step outside. The air was breathable but carried a strange tang, like metal mixed with honey. She took a cautious step, then another, her eyes scanning every detail. Adrian followed, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. "Take it slow. We don't know what's out here." Towering trees with translucent leaves swayed gently, though there was no wind. Crystal formations rose from the ground like giant spires, reflecting the suns in dazzling colors. Strange creatures darted between the shadows, barely visible, yet every movement felt deliberate, as if the planet itself was watching them. "Do you feel that?" Leela asked, her voice low. "Like we're being watched." "Sweetheart," he said again, letting the word hang in the air. It was a small moment, insignificant in the grand scheme of interstellar colonization, but it was a thread of humanity woven into an alien world. They continued forward, venturing toward the ruins marked on the ship's sensors. The ancient structures rose from the ground like fragments of a forgotten civilization, covered in vines and shimmering in the sunlight. Strange symbols were etched into the stone, glowing faintly when touched. Leela knelt to examine one, her fingers tracing the lines. "These symbols, they're alive in a way. They respond to touch, maybe even to thought." Looks like humanity finally met its match. Alien fauna slithered, flew, and darted through the forests, sometimes curious, sometimes avoiding contact. Night fell quickly under the twin suns, casting long shadows over the crystalline terrain. The air cooled and the alien plants glowed softly, illuminating the camp in an eerie light. Around the fire, humans gathered, sharing stories of Earth, of journeys across the stars, and of the home they had left behind. Even in this alien world, the warmth of human connection burned brightly. Adrian sat beside Leela as she sketched the symbols in her notebook. "You know," he said, "I think they're testing us. Not with weapons, but with observation. Something about this planet feels intentional." The crew paused, listening. Some whispered about energy readings, others about the possibility of sentient life. Leela held Adrian's hand briefly, a small gesture of comfort. "Whatever comes, we face it together," she said. Adrian squeezed her hand gently. "Together," he echoed. A sudden movement caught their attention. Shadows shifted near the edge of the camp, and strange figures stepped into the faint light. They were tall, slender, almost transparent, and their forms shimmered like liquid crystal. The humans froze, unsure whether to attack or observe. The aliens made no aggressive move, only watching. Adrian raised his hands slowly, signaling peace. "We come in friendship," he said firmly. The figures seemed to respond, their glow intensifying and then fading in rhythmic patterns. Leela whispered, They understand us." That simple courage, so natural to humans, seemed to intrigue the Lumari, the alien beings. By dawn, the figures had vanished, leaving no trace but a faint glow lingering in the air. Adrian and Leela stood together, watching the sunrise, reflecting on the encounter. "They're testing us," Adrian said again, a note of certainty in his voice. "But in a way that respects us," Leela replied. "They could have destroyed us easily." He paused, then added with a teasing tone, "Sweetheart." Humans had arrived not as conquerors, but as learners and adapters, capable of meeting challenges that even advanced civilizations might not expect. Adrian and Leela, standing side by side, embodied that resilience, the courage to face the unknown, the curiosity to explore it, and the warmth that made them undeniably human. As the crew prepared for the day ahead, scouting the surrounding terrain, they could feel the subtle pulse of the planet beneath their feet, a quiet acknowledgement that they had arrived. The Luminary might not yet reveal their intentions, but humanity had already proven itself in small, quiet ways. They survived. They adapted. And they showed that even in the vast, mysterious cosmos, human heart and ingenuity could shine brightly. Adrian looked at Leela one more time, her hair catching the light of the twin suns, her eyes reflecting curiosity and determination. He smiled, feeling a spark of hope and pride. "We'll figure this out," he said. "Together, sweetheart." Humans had arrived, and already they were making their mark, not through force, but through courage, intelligence, and the simple, enduring power of human connection. And somewhere in the shadows, the Luminary watched, learning that humans were unlike anything they had ever seen. Fragile, yes, but strong in ways that even the stars could not predict. The morning light broke across the alien landscape, casting long shadows from the crystal spires that surrounded the colony. The air carried a faint, metallic tang that made every breath feel sharp and alive. Humans had survived the first night, but now the real work began. Commander Adrian Hale led his crew toward the edge of the plateau, where the sensors had picked up unusual energy readings during the landing. Every step seemed to echo, not just across the rocky terrain, but across the planet itself, as if the world was aware of their presence. "Doctor." Leela Venn walked beside him, her notebook in hand. She had spent the night sketching the alien symbols, trying to decipher the strange patterns that shimmered in the ruins. "These symbols," she murmured, "they repeat themselves but in slightly different forms. It's almost like they're testing us, seeing if we can recognize the changes." "And do you think we can?" It was a quiet tension, one that settled into their bones. Even the most seasoned security officers felt it, though none would admit it aloud. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled, sending small rocks skittering across the plateau. The humans froze. In the distance, towering spires of crystal seemed to bend and shimmer unnaturally. A low hum rose from the planet itself, growing louder until it resonated in every bone. Adrian raised a hand, signaling the crew to halt. "What is it?" Leela whispered, her voice tight. Adrian shook his head. "Not sure, but stay calm. Observe first, react second." The humans watched in cautious fascination as the glow formed shapes that resembled the symbols Leela had been studying. The planet was speaking in its own way, and humanity was listening. "Could it be a warning?" one of the engineers asked nervously. "Or a test?" Adrian replied. "Either way, we proceed carefully. It's like it wants us to learn, to understand." Yet despite the hazards, the humans pressed forward. Where advanced aliens might rely solely on technology, humanity relied on adaptability, improvisation, and instinct. One of the security officers slipped on a slick patch of ground, nearly falling into a chasm. Leela reacted instantly, grabbing his arm and pulling him to safety. "Careful," she warned. "This planet isn't just testing our courage, it's testing our senses." Leela translated the symbols as best she could, her notebook filling with sketches and notes. "There's a pattern," she said excitedly. "They're marking certain locations, energy sources maybe, or points of interest." Sudden gusts of wind carried clouds of abrasive dust. Alien predators, though hesitant, began to appear, long, sinewy creatures that slithered silently, observing the humans from a distance. The crew reacted quickly, creating barriers and using non-lethal deterrents to keep the creatures at bay. Each encounter tested their coordination, their courage, and their ability to think under pressure. During one particularly tense moment, a predator lunged from the shadows, faster than any human could have anticipated. Adrian's hand shot out, grabbing a piece of alien debris and using it to block the creature's path. Leela shouted directions, her voice calm despite the danger. Together, they managed to divert the predator into a narrow canyon, where it disappeared from view. When the danger passed, Adrian exhaled deeply, his eyes scanning the horizon. Leela touched his arm lightly. "You okay?" she asked softly. Adrian smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and admiration. "Better now, thanks to you." "Sweetheart." Even in a world filled with danger and uncertainty, they found small threads of human connection that reminded them why they were there, to survive, to explore, and to carry humanity's spirit into the stars. As night approached, the crew set up a temporary camp near one of the larger crystal formations. The spires emitted a faint, soothing light, casting long shadows across the ground. Around the campfire, humans shared stories of Earth, memories of oceans, forests, and cities now millions of light years away. Leela and Adrian sat together, reviewing the day's data and discussing strategies for the next day. "Every test we pass," Adrian said quietly, "is a message. We're proving that humans can adapt, that we can survive, and that we can learn." In the distance, a low rumble echoed, unlike anything the humans had encountered. Sensors picked up a massive energy signature moving toward them, something living, intelligent, and enormous. Adrian stood, alert and ready. "Everyone, positions, stay calm. We don't know if it's hostile, but we need to be prepared." It moved with purpose, its glowing tendrils probing the ground and air. The humans held their ground, hearts pounding, minds focused. This was the ultimate test, bigger, stranger, and more intelligent than anything they had faced before. Adrian stepped forward, hands raised in peace. "We come in friendship, we mean no harm." Leela felt a strange connection, a pulse of thought that seemed almost like language. She concentrated, reaching out with her mind to understand. Slowly, images and emotions flowed into her consciousness, curiosity, caution, and an invitation to prove themselves. "It's testing us," she whispered to Adrian. "It wants to see if we're worthy. Then we show it what humans are capable of. Intelligence, courage, teamwork, and heart." Symbols appeared in the air, similar to the ones she had been studying, forming patterns that only a human mind could interpret. Leela looked at Adrian, her eyes bright with determination. "We can do this, together." They moved carefully, matching their actions with its pulses, responding to its tests with creativity and precision. Hours passed, yet no one wavered. The bond between humans grew stronger, as did their understanding of the alien intelligence. Finally, the entity receded, its glow dimming as it observed the humans with what seemed like approval. The threat had passed, and in its place a sense of cautious respect lingered. Humanity had survived the test, not through violence but through ingenuity, courage, and unity. Adrian exhaled deeply, his eyes meeting Leela's. "We did it, and we proved something important. That humans can face anything, and still remain human." As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the crystal landscape, the humans knew that their journey had only just begun. Every challenge they faced, every test they passed, was a step toward understanding not only this alien world, but themselves. Humanity was small, fragile, and unarmed, but it was clever, brave, and capable of heart. And that was enough. The next day dawned clear, with pale sunlight spilling across the alien landscape, revealing the jagged beauty of crystal spires and turquoise forests. The crew of the Aurora prepared for a new day of exploration, but an underlying tension lingered. The events of the previous night, the massive energy entity and the strange patterns of the planet, had left everyone alert, cautious, and curious. Humanity had passed a test, but it was clear there were more challenges ahead. Commander Adrian Hale gathered the key members of the team, including Dr. Leela Venn, in the main observation area. "We've survived the first contact and the planet's tests," he said, his voice calm but firm. "But we are not yet understood. The beings here, the Lumeri, if I am correct, are intelligent. They are studying us, and they will test us further. They are sequences, instructions, challenges. The Lumeri are giving us puzzles, moral puzzles, physical challenges, and intellectual ones. They want to know if we are capable in every way. Not just our strength, but our thinking, our heart, and our courage." The air itself seemed alive, vibrating with a faint hum that resonated in the chest and bones. As they approached, the symbols on the structures pulsed and rearranged themselves. Leela stepped forward carefully, her eyes wide with fascination. "It's as if the planet and the Lumeri are speaking in a language we have to feel, not just see," she whispered. Adrian glanced at her, impressed. "Then feel it carefully and stay alert. We don't know what these structures are designed to do." She staggered slightly, but Adrian's hand was there instantly, steadying her. "You okay?" he asked, concern lacing his voice. She nodded, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Yes, but these chambers, they're alive. They can sense us, react to us, and I think they are testing more than our skills. They are testing our choices. The crew worked together, each member using their skills, but it was Leela's understanding of the symbols and Adrian's leadership that guided them most. Hours passed, and they reached a central chamber, the largest yet. In the center floated a massive orb of pure energy, surrounded by shimmering tendrils that extended in all directions. The orb pulsed like a heartbeat, and the tendrils seemed to reach toward each human individually, sensing their thoughts, their intentions. Adrian stepped forward first, calm and resolute. "We are here to learn, not to harm," he said aloud, addressing the orb, though he knew it could sense his intentions without words. "We are humans. We are curious, courageous, and capable of cooperation. We are capable of empathy and ingenuity." Adrian and Leela exchanged a glance. They knew instinctively that their choices would affect how the Lumari perceived them. Adrian chose the path of courage first. It led into a tunnel where the walls narrowed and shifted unpredictably, threatening to trap the explorers. The crew moved with precision, relying on quick thinking and teamwork to avoid obstacles. Leela guided them through, using her understanding of the symbols to predict the wall movements. Every challenge required not brute force, but clever problem-solving and calm composure under pressure. They emerged into a second chamber, where illusions of their deepest fears were projected around them, fractured landscapes of Earth, lost friends, and impossible dangers. The crew froze briefly, but Adrian's voice cut through the tension. "We face this together. Fear is not weakness, it is information. Use it." The orb's tendrils pulsed faster, seemingly approving their progress. Finally, they reached the Chamber of Compassion. Here, holographic images of alien beings appeared, some in distress, some confused. The humans had to make choices to help, to protect, and to show understanding. Every decision mattered. Leela carefully analyzed each situation, guiding the crew to act with empathy and thoughtfulness. Adrian's leadership ensured no one hesitated or panicked, and his calm reassurance reminded everyone of humanity's ability to work together in even the strangest circumstances. At the center of this chamber, the orb pulsed brighter than ever. It projected a vision of a world where humans and Lumari worked together, combining technology and intuition, strength and heart. It was a vision of cooperation, and the humans recognized it instinctively as the outcome the Lumari hoped to see. Adrian looked at Leela, admiration in his eyes. "You see that? That's what they value. Not just power or intelligence, but the way we care, the way we think together." "Say it again," she whispered, her voice full of amusement and affection. He grinned, repeating it softly, and for a moment, the chamber of glowing energy and alien tests faded into the background. Two humans, hand in hand, had found a simple thread of warmth and connection amidst challenges far beyond Earth. But the trials were not over. The orb pulsed one last time, then expanded, releasing waves of energy that carried the humans' thoughts and intentions to the far reaches of the planet. The chamber walls dissolved, revealing the Lumari themselves for the first time. They were majestic, almost translucent, their forms flowing like liquid light. Their faces, though alien, conveyed intelligence, curiosity, and a strange appreciation. The humans froze in awe, realizing they were witnessing the beings who had orchestrated the tests. One of the Lumari extended a tendril, not in aggression, but in invitation. Leela felt a connection, a silent communication that bypassed words. They want to see more," she whispered. "They are not hostile, they want understanding." They presented scenarios where the crew had to choose between personal safety and the greater good, showing that intelligence alone was not enough. Empathy, adaptability, and teamwork were equally important. Adrian and Leela led the crew with calm precision. When a scenario threatened the safety of one member, Adrian made quick decisions that prioritized life without hesitation. Leela interpreted the Lumari's signals, guiding responses that balanced compassion and logic. Each success reinforced the humans' confidence and displayed their qualities to the observing Lumari. As the tests concluded, the Lumari seemed to communicate silently among themselves. Their forms shimmered and pulsated with light, and for the first time one of them approached Adrian and Leela closely. There was no hostility, only curiosity and acknowledgement. Adrian bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. "We are humans," he said simply. "We have courage, intellect, and heart. We wish to learn from you, and we hope to share what we can." Leela laughed softly, overwhelmed by the experience. They accept us," she whispered. Adrian smiled, looking at her with pride. "They respect humans, not because we are the strongest, but because we are humans. We think, we care, we endure." As the twin suns set, casting long, glowing shadows across the crystal terrain, the humans realized that their journey had entered a new phase. They were no longer merely explorers. They were participants in an interstellar exchange of trust, intelligence, and morality. Humanity had proven itself, not through weapons or dominance, but through courage, ingenuity, and compassion. Adrian looked at the horizon, then at Leela. "The tests aren't over, but we've shown who we are, and that is enough for now." "Say it again." The Lumary had guided them to a new section of the planet, an area filled with massive, ancient machinery that pulsed with energy invisible yet undeniable. The structures rose like titans, their surfaces covered in the glowing symbols the humans had come to recognize as tests, challenges, and instructions. Commander Adrian Hale surveyed the area carefully. "This is different," he said, his voice steady but tinged with concern. "These machines are alive in some sense. We've seen tests before, but this is something more. It's powerful and it's moving. It's like the planet itself has a mind, and it's awake now. Whatever this is, it will test every part of us, our strength, our intelligence, and our courage." As they moved, panels slid open along the surfaces of the structures, revealing corridors of energy that pulsed like veins. The humans entered cautiously, every step measured, every action deliberate. The machines reacted instantly, shifting walls and creating obstacles that tested balance, logic, and quick thinking. A sudden tremor shook the floor beneath them. One of the crystal columns tilted dangerously, threatening to collapse. Adrian reacted immediately, pushing a crew member out of the way and using a metal support to stabilize the structure. Leela, quick-thinking as ever, deciphered the sequence of the moving panels, guiding the team to a safe path. Their success relied on both intellect and instinct, proving once again that humans thrived where others might fail. Hours passed, and the labyrinth of energy machines grew more complex. Some rooms required cooperation to activate switches simultaneously. Others demanded careful timing to avoid energy discharges that could have injured, or worse. The crew moved as one, communicating with concise signals and trusting each other's skills implicitly. During a particularly tense moment, they reached a chamber where the energy flows formed a vast, swirling vortex. The floor beneath them glowed with a shifting pattern, and one misstep could send a human into a trap. Leela studied the symbols carefully, tracing patterns with her finger. "This is a logic puzzle, but it's more than that," she said. "It reacts to intention. We have to think and feel the solution, not just calculate it." When a misalignment caused a section of the floor to rise suddenly, Adrian grabbed Leela's hand, pulling her to safety. "Careful," he warned. "Every move counts." "Say it again," she teased, and for a brief moment, the fear of the unknown melted into shared human connection. The vortex shifted, recognizing their success, and revealed a hidden passage leading deeper into the machinery. It was clear now that the energy constructs were not simply obstacles. They were guardians of something ancient and powerful. As the humans advanced, the Lumary watched silently from a distance, observing, measuring, and learning from their every move. The deeper chambers became more dangerous. Pulses of energy shot across the floor unpredictably, and walls began to move with a speed that tested both reflex and reasoning. The humans adapted, using ropes, tools, and their own quick thinking to navigate the treacherous environment. Every obstacle demanded cooperation, every challenge highlighted human ingenuity. At one point, a sudden surge of energy trapped part of the crew in a section of the chamber. Adrian acted instantly, using a combination of technology and physical skill to stabilize the area while Leela deciphered a sequence to redirect the energy flow. One by one, they freed their teammates, proving that human resilience was as much about heart as it was about intellect. Hours passed, the sun shifting in the sky as they pressed deeper. Finally, they reached the heart of the energy machines, a massive core that pulsed with vibrant light, its energy radiating across the chamber. The symbols around it were alive, moving with a rhythm that seemed almost conscious. Leela stepped forward cautiously, touching the surface of the core. The energy surged, but instead of harm, it created images in her mind. Visions of the planet's history, its builders, and its connection to the Lumary. She gasped softly. This is incredible. The machines aren't just alive, they're intelligent. They are protecting knowledge, energy, and perhaps even life itself." Then we proceed with care. One wrong move could set this all off. But we also have to show them what humans are capable of. It was a final test, and every human on the team felt the weight of it. Leela guided the crew through a sequence that required precise timing, emotional control, and intellectual insight. Adrian coordinated actions, ensuring no one hesitated or panicked. Slowly, piece by piece, the team aligned the energy flows, deciphered the symbols, and activated the core's mechanisms. Suddenly, a wave of energy surged outward, filling the chamber with light. The humans held their ground, standing firm, despite the overwhelming force. The energy washed over them, probing their thoughts, intentions, and emotions. But humanity did what it did best. They adapted. They used intelligence, courage, and heart to navigate the challenge, responding in ways no purely logical being could. When the light finally dimmed, the core stabilized, radiating a steady glow. The Lumeri appeared, surrounding the chamber in their flowing, translucent forms. They were silent, but their attention was fixed on the humans, measuring, appreciating, and acknowledging their success. Adrian turned to Leela, smiling faintly despite exhaustion. We did it. We passed the test. In the midst of a world filled with ancient technology and alien challenges, they had found a simple thread of humanity that remained unbroken. Courage, intelligence, empathy, and connection. These were the qualities that defined them, the qualities that made humans remarkable. The Lumeri's acknowledgement came not in words, but in a surge of energy that seemed to communicate approval, respect, and curiosity. They had witnessed humans rise to challenges, adapt in impossible situations, and remain compassionate even under immense pressure. It was a moment of quiet triumph, one that proved humanity's worth not through force, but through resilience and heart. As the sun set behind the crystal spires, casting long, glowing shadows across the plateau, Adrian and Leela stood together, observing the world they had navigated. The energy machines hummed gently, no longer threatening but steady and alive, as if recognizing the humans as worthy. Adrian looked at Leela, admiration and warmth in his eyes. Tomorrow, we explore further. There is more to learn, and I have no doubt humanity will rise to it. And in every small act, every choice, every decision, every connection, they demonstrated the qualities that made humanity exceptional. Even the Lumeri, with all their advanced intelligence, could not match the resilience, creativity, and compassion that humans displayed naturally. And for the humans of the Aurora, the realization was both humbling and inspiring. Adrian and Leela remained side by side, hands clasped, hearts steady. In a universe filled with challenges far beyond Earth, humans had carved a place for themselves, not by dominance but by being human, by thinking, by feeling, and by enduring together. And somewhere deep within the pulsing core of the ancient machines, the planet seemed to hum in approval, acknowledging the arrival of a species that was small in size but limitless in potential. For the humans, this was more than survival. It was proof that heart, courage, and intelligence could triumph over even the most formidable challenges. And with each day, each test, each moment, they continued to prove that humanity's greatest strength was not weapons or technology. It was the very essence of what it meant to be human. The morning sky shimmered with pale gold light as the twin suns rose above the horizon. The humans of the Aurora prepared for what they all knew would be the final phase of their trials on the alien planet. The energy machines had been navigated, the Lumeri had observed their intelligence and courage, and now the ultimate challenge awaited, the awakening of the planet's ancient guardians. These colossal constructs, powered by the core they had stabilized, had been dormant for millennia, and their sudden activation would test every skill, instinct, and quality that humanity possessed. Commander Adrian Hale gathered the crew. Today, he said, voice steady and firm, we show the Lumeri and ourselves what humans are capable of. These constructs are powerful, but they are not smarter than us. They do not have the creativity, adaptability, or heart that we do. Stick together, trust each other, and trust yourselves. Humanity will prevail. Leela then stepped forward, her eyes scanning the horizon where the massive energy construct stirred. We've prepared for this. We understand the energy flows, the symbols, the patterns, but this isn't just a test of intelligence. It's a test of courage, of trust, of every human quality that makes us human. As we always do. That gave Adrian an idea. Observe, he instructed. We move with precision, we study its behavior, and we act together. It's powerful, she said, but it's predictable if we understand its rhythm. Leela guided the team through the complex patterns, using symbols and pulses as a map. One misstep could have been catastrophic, but their teamwork and quick thinking allowed them to stay ahead. During a tense moment, one of the crew members slipped on a crystalline surface and risked being crushed by the construct's foot. Adrian reacted instantly, throwing himself forward to push the person to safety. Leela, seeing the danger, shouted precise directions that allowed the team to adjust their positions. Together, they turned near disaster into a demonstration of human resilience. After hours of careful maneuvering, they reached the base of the construct. Leela traced the symbols etched across its surface and realized the way to deactivate or control it required not brute force, but synchronization with the core energy. "We need to think with the machine, not against it," she said. "If we act together, we can guide it." Teamwork, focus, and heart. Each obstacle was a chance to demonstrate their ingenuity, each decision a moment to prove courage and judgment. They relied not on weapons, but on their understanding, intuition, and mutual trust. Adrian glanced at Leela, who was guiding the team through a complex sequence of energy conduits. "You're incredible," he said quietly, squeezing her hand. She smiled, cheeks flushed with effort and excitement. "We're incredible together. Humanity works best that way." The bond between them, simple yet powerful, reminded them why humans endured and thrived even in the face of the impossible. The final chamber awaited them, the largest construct of all. It rose hundreds of meters, its surface flowing with energy like a river of light. Its eyes, or perhaps sensors, focused on the humans as if judging them. The pulse of the core resonated with it, a reminder that every action and intention was connected to something far greater. Adrian took a deep breath. "This is it. Stay calm, think, act, and trust each other. We've come this far. Humanity has never failed yet. We know what to do." That, Adrian realized, was humanity's advantage: adaptability and creativity. Leela analyzed the symbols in real time, calling out instructions that allowed the team to stay ahead of danger. "Left, now, quick, balance on the spire, yes, good." When a small energy surge threatened to knock them off balance, he adjusted their path instantly, saving the team from disaster. Finally, they reached the construct's core panel, a panel of pulsating energy symbols that mirrored the planet's own energy. Leela traced the sequence with careful precision, connecting the patterns to the ones they had studied in the chambers. "We need to synchronize with the core," she explained. "If we act together, we can calm it." Light pulsed through its limbs, spreading into the surrounding energy structures. The humans held their focus, working as one, their collective heart, mind, and spirit aligning with the energy. The Lumeri observed closely, their forms shimmering with approval. They had seen countless species before, but none had demonstrated such courage, intelligence, and unity. Humans were small, fragile, and unarmed, yet they moved with confidence and purpose, their hearts as powerful as any technology. Slowly, the construct settled, its movements calm, its energy flowing steadily without threat. The humans had succeeded not by strength, but by intellect, empathy, courage, and teamwork. They had earned the respect of the planet, the machines, and the Lumeri themselves. Adrian exhaled, relief and pride washing over him. He looked at Leela, who was glowing with exhilaration. "We did it," he said simply. Leela smiled, her cheeks flushed with triumph. "Yes, we did, and we did it together." "Say it again," she whispered. He grinned, repeating it. In the middle of an alien world filled with unimaginable challenges, they found a thread of humanity that endured: connection, trust, and heart. The Lumeri approached the humans in their flowing, translucent forms. This time there was no test, only acknowledgement. They extended tendrils of light, communicating through a wave of emotion and understanding rather than words. The humans felt a surge of respect, curiosity, and gratitude from the Lumeri. They had been recognized not for dominance, but for ingenuity, courage, and compassion, the very qualities that made them human. The humans realized they were not just survivors, they were ambassadors of humanity's greatest strengths. Intelligence, adaptability, creativity, and heart had carried them through the impossible. Adrian and Leela stood together, hands clasped as the twin suns set behind the crystal spires. The energy machines hummed steadily, no longer threatening, but alive in harmony with the humans' actions. The Lumeri remained, their forms shimmering in quiet respect, inviting cooperation rather than conflict. Adrian looked at the horizon, then at Leela. "Humanity has arrived. We've proven we can face anything, and we've done it with heart. And tomorrow we begin the next journey, together, as humans always do." These qualities, uniquely human, had allowed them to triumph where logic, technology, and power alone might have failed. And as night fell across the alien world, the humans stood on the plateau, gazing at the stars above, hearts steady, minds alert, and spirits unbroken. They had survived, they had adapted, and they had proven that humanity's greatest strength was not weapons or machines. It was the essence of being human. The courage to endure, the intelligence to think, the heart to care, and the unity to act together. Somewhere deep within the energy structures, the planet itself seemed to hum in approval, recognizing that a small, fragile species from a distant star had earned a place among the wonders of the galaxy. And for the humans of the Aurora, this was only the beginning. They were small, they were fragile, they were human, but they were unstoppable.